If you've spent any amount of time on social media, the odds are pretty good that you've encountered someone that takes things a little too seriously. I've come across people like this several times. Some are worse than others, but there is usually one common theme among them. They make the mistake of believing that their opinions matter. Well, they don't. The internet is an amazing thing. It offers an endless amount of knowledge, but it also opens up the door to a world that allows anyone to say what they want, all while hiding behind a computer screen. There are many different types of nutjobs out there, but every once in a while, you'll come across an individual that will remind you of how delusional a human can be. And it just so happens that I recently came across someone like this. Now here's some context. I follow certain dietary YouTube channels, and so do vegans, who take it upon themselves to make sure the world knows that they don't approve of a diet that doesn't revolve around ethics. Well, let's take a look at an interaction with one of these people.
Conflict-driven. Why do you assume you are entitled to take life? I assume you don't eat dog every day. Are you God? Do you get to decide on an irrational whim who lives and who dies? Just like that? That means you assume you can steal from God. Use God, nature, the universe, creation. Same thing.
Right off the bat, it's obvious how fun this person would be at a party. Also, they've already established that their diet is a religion to them. This will be a constant throughout the conversation. And then they randomly say this. I never told anyone this before, but I was very confused sexually when I was growing up. But now, I'm just content with feeling like there's a lesbian trapped inside of me. That literally has nothing to do with the conversation, but this person thought it was somehow relevant in proving a point. The only thing it does is further enforce that this individual is mentally ill. We are in a completely dissociative state when we eat the flesh of another being. Blank. Nothing. Dead inside. We are the ending of the process of unnecessary death of other playful beings who, despite our narcissism, have an equal right to life and nature. Yet we don't flinch. Don't think about it. Heartbeat remains the same, cold-blooded like a reptile, nothing, no emotion, dead. And yet all that violence hangs on the flimsiest of threads. Can you see the beast? Like most people following this ideology, they believe in the concept of a right to life. The only thing that determines a right or rights are the ones that are in charge and hold the power. Rights do not exist outside of that. They are not this mystical thing that the universe enforces. And then I took it upon myself to keep things civil and logical. To go along with something that is generally accepted just for the sake of following the truth without question is irrational. I've been experimenting with diet for a little over a decade now. I know what works for me and what doesn't. Any number of studies can be put before me which contradicts what should be happening to me. But it doesn't matter, because results speak for themselves. I totally understand what you're suggesting. You believe that nature, God, the universe revolves around love, peace, and fairness. That's all fine because that's how you perceive the world. And it works for you. Like I always say, take what works for you and lose what doesn't.
Conflict-driven? You are assuming you have the right and are entitled to take life on the flimsiest of irrational cultural whims. You are free to kill and eat the offspring of any animal you choose. Just like your dog or cat is free to kill and eat your children. But we are not free from suffering the consequences. You'd kill your dog if he killed and ate one of your children just for pleasure.
Yes, I would in fact slaughter an animal if it killed my child. This person is arguing how it's unfair that cattle and other creatures beneath us can't get revenge as easy as humans. Well, it sucks not to be at the top of the food chain. We can provide clean water and food for 60 billion much larger farm animals each year. Yet, 2 billion people don't have clean drinking water, and 10 million starve to death each year. Mostly children. Yet we don't need to eat animals anymore.
Can you see the beast? He who fights with monsters should be careful, lest he thereby become a monster. And if thou gaze long into the abyss will also gaze into thee.
Boo-hoo. People we aren't tied to die every day. And of all the people to quote, they pick Friedrich Nietzsche, one of my favorite philosophers. Yeah, think about that for a second. The philosopher that came up with the concept of the Superman. Conflict-driven. It's nonsense that a vegan diet is not right for everyone. It's just another way you are fooling yourself that it's not suitable for you, which is bullshit. There are over 70,000 edible plants. If you really wanted to eat a vegan diet, you would find a way. You're just finding a way to not eat a vegan diet because of fear that is present as passive aggression. It's as simple as that. Whether you think you can, or whether you think you can't, you are right. Henry Ford. Yes. The "you're just afraid" tactic. That's a good tactic if the person you're directing it towards doesn't realize what you're doing. It predicates on the fact that most people are afraid of being perceived as being afraid of something. So they do it to appear courageous. Kinda like when two straight guys kiss each other to prove that they are in fact comfortable with their sexuality. Also at this point, in case you haven't noticed, this person really likes emojis and quoting people. If God was self-aware from the beginning of time and throughout evolution, he would not have needed conscious, self-aware animals in order to figure himself out. Evil has always been and can only be defined from the perspective of the victims, not the oppressors. Evil creates evil. It's designed to destroy itself. More religious rambling to push an agenda. Good and evil are subjective. Not everyone can win in life. And of course, the losers are gonna pout and consider their conquerors evil and unjust. Victims usually do have it rough. But maybe they should have fought a little harder and avoided being conquered. And this is my last response in this conversation because I really got burnt out talking to this individual. As I've said, you've clearly presented that you disagree with me, and that's fine. But you still haven't answered my question. Why do you take it upon yourself to devote so much energy towards arguing with strangers on YouTube that you disagree with? Conflict-driven. Because we needlessly kill on the flimsiest of irrational cultural detail. And if Stephen Hawking's doubts about the illusion of reality being a dream that has been pondered for tens of thousands of years all the way back to Aboriginal dream time are correct, it means we must be asleep, and irrational behavior can only be that sleep. Think of what it means if Stephen Hawking is correct, and we are dreaming. It means nothing is real. No time, no aging, no light, no darkness, no gravity. It means you are playing a character. It means there is no real you, other than the you that can play characters, just like you do every night. And it means everything is symbolic. It means death is an illusion, not real. I wanted a straightforward answer. They started off with one, but then spiraled into some weird false reality dream world where nothing is real. This is a prime example of an irrational human. They spend all this time pushing their movement, and then they reveal that life itself may not even be real. So they literally contradict everything they stand for. If nothing is real, then nothing matters, including the ridiculous ethical crusade. So why did I put myself through this madness? It started off due to boredom, but then I saw an opportunity to teach a valuable lesson. Do not waste time and energy arguing with strangers, especially the ones that are mentally unhinged. Just look at the example I provided. It solved nothing. We won't change each other's minds. The best case scenario is that one person gets frustrated and stops replying, or each party respectfully disagrees and ends the conversation. But someone will still probably feel as though they had some kind of a victory, which is laughable. It's not a real victory. The person I argued with probably lives a pathetic existence, and the only outlet they have is through commenting on YouTube videos they disagree with, which more than likely gives them some sense of power and purpose. And during the video I obnoxiously mocked them with all kinds of different voices, because in my head I like to imagine this person sitting in some dark basement somewhere, having multiple personalities, and just drifting into insanity. Don't be like this. These types of people usually feel as though they have no control of their life, and as a result develop a great deal of resentment due to the weaknesses they failed to overcome. So the only way they can retain control, no matter how small, is through a movement that allows them to be part of something greater. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's simply irrational and counterproductive to focus all of your efforts towards strangers on the internet. My final advice is this: avoid social media disputes. And if someone like this engages you, just ignore them. Or if you're like me, and you enjoy getting them flustered, then have at it. Just don't get caught up in taking the conversation seriously. Save your energy for something more important, like improving yourself. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. And also, if you could, tap that little bell icon so you're notified every time I come out with new content. As I previously stated during the video, the reason I made this video was to illustrate what it's like dealing with an internet weirdo. Somebody who has nothing better to do with their time than get on social media and attack people for having different beliefs. And to anybody that thinks that what I did or what I'm doing is bullying a mentally ill person, it's not. This individual is a bully. I showed you a very watered down conversation. I go to all kinds of different YouTube channels that are somewhat anti-vegan because their dietary choices oppose veganism. So you deal with a lot of vegans who come on there and attack and try to convert people to their ethical lifestyle. Well, this individual goes to all of these channels and attacks people. I see them constantly. And I might even go down into the description and link the video that this conversation took place in. And if you scroll down through the comments in this video, you'll find the original poster who makes a joke about eating brains and making their friends and family think that they're a zombie. And if you look at the amount of replies on that comment, I'm pretty sure there are exactly 69 comments. Originally, there were about 250, and a majority of them were from this crazy individual. And for some reason, they deleted all of them. And I'm assuming one of two things happened. They went in and deleted all these comments themselves, or their profile was terminated because not only do they attack people on social media, they also threaten them with physical violence and death. So this person isn't so innocent. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Don't be an internet weirdo. Alright, until you hear from me again, have a good one.